you doing, everybody? I hope you're having a good day wherever you might be. Some people are getting a break from the hot weather, and some people are still experiencing it. And of course, out here, the skies are still smoky. There's a fine ash falling, and it's about turning everything about kind of between a cross between a gray and a light beige. And so our sky's not orange like it was a few days ago, but it's still a mess. And of course, remember to pray for the firefighters, pray for all those losing their homes, and those families who are losing loved ones. So yeah, it's not any good. But anyway, we're here to talk about spiritual matters, and that's what we want to talk about. And the title of the lesson is, Where Did the Love Go? And that's a question which we have to wonder, because the more we watch media of any kind, we see less and less of it. And so we have the most beautiful description of love in the Bible. 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. It reads, Love is patient, love is kind, and is not jealous. Love does not brag and is not arrogant, does not act unbecomingly, it does not seek its own, is not provoked, does not take into account a wrong suffered, does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices with the truth, bears all things, believes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. I mean, that's a beautiful description of it. And when you think about it, every one of these actions and descriptions are really attributes of God. These are the qualities of God, and we're supposed to be taking those qualities and applying them to ourselves. We have many descriptions in the Old Testament where God says, be ye holy, for your Father is holy. And we're to be that way. Even that's brought into the New Testament. We're to be holy because God is holy. And of course, Jesus is God, so we should be like Jesus. And we have several quotations from Paul where it says, be like me, just like I am of my Father. And even Peter said, we set the good example for you. And so, yeah, we need to follow the good examples of these things because we're to be like Jesus. Peter said Jesus is our perfect example. And of course, everything Jesus did, he did from the standpoint of love. I mean, he was concerned about people, and he had compassion for people, and he wanted to alleviate their problems. And so he provided for these people what they needed. And in many ways, God has provided everybody with what they need. It's just a lot of people make the choice not to have anything to do with God. And so that's where we have our problems here. And so we read in 1 John 4:8 that God is love. And so all the attributes of love God possesses. And if we carry it out to where it's supposed to go, we are supposed to show the same attributes of love that God is. And we are to be that same type of person. We're to be a loving person and one that is kind and generous and considerate of others. So we should be doing that. But like I said, the majority of our society has chosen to kick God out of their lives. So God has been told to get out of our schools. God has been chased away from our courthouses and government buildings. And we know they're trying to get the name of God off our money. And most just refuse to say the words under God in the Pledge of Allegiance. And so not only do they want God to go away, but really they want anyone who believes in God to go away. And if that does not happen, at least they want those people to shut up about God and not bring him into any conversation. I mean, that's what they do. See, the only time they are comfortable with the name of God is when they use it in a curse word, in a phrase of cursing of some sort. And that's the only time they're comfortable with the name of God. But like I said, since God allows everyone to make their choice, God gets out of the way. And he really does. He'll step out of the way. In fact, he'll even let people believe the lie if that's what they want to believe. And so we read that in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 10 through 12. And so let's see what replaces the love of God. And so the Apostle Paul wrote to the Romans and told us what happens when people do not retain the knowledge of God in their lives. See, Romans 1, verses 28 to 32, and we're going to read this and just think about all these attributes here, how they are filling our society. All right, it reads, "And just as they did not see fit to acknowledge God any longer, God gave them over to a depraved mind to do those things which are not proper, being filled with all unrighteousness, wickedness, greed, evil, full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, malice. They are gossips, slanderers, haters of God, insolent, arrogant, boastful, inventors of evil, disobedient to parents, without understanding, untrustworthy, unloving, unmerciful, and although they know the ordinance of God, that those who practice such things are worthy of death, they not only do that same, but also give hearty approval to those who practice them." So when you think about all those things that he described, does that not describe our present society? Everywhere we look, we see this taking place. And so when you ask the question, where has the love gone? Well, it's gone into the past, is where the majority of it is. Now, yeah, there's still people who love and do it in the right way. There's still people who love God and do things for others because they love others. And we still have that portion of our society, but the majority of our society wants those things to go away, wants those people to go away. They don't want it. And you might think it's strange that people would choose such hatred to live in, all the while longing for the attributes of love. See, this is something that's really kind of like a paradox just about. They want all the attributes of love. They want everybody to treat them nice and kind and all these good things, but yet they're not willing to give up the world. They're not willing to trade it all in to start doing a life of righteousness. And so they're just content to be hateful. And I mean, there's a lot of people that are hateful, and believe me, when it comes to certain things like politics or rights or anything like that, some people are just downright hateful. And even in the church, you find those who just literally hate those who are conservative minded, and they just really do. And that's really sad, because we are taught in the Bible that if you hate, you're not going to go to heaven. And we emphasize that point over and over, and yet it doesn't get through. The message is not received. You cannot go to heaven if you have hatred for anybody, if you have animosity towards anybody, if you have a grudge against somebody, if you wish harm upon somebody. There's no way you're going to go to heaven. And the Bible is clear on that. And yet somehow these people justify their hatred for one reason or another. So they're not willing to receive the love of God and be content to live in such, they're content to live in evil environments. And they have no problem with that. So people make the choice to love the world and everything in it. Even though 1 John 2, 15 through 17 tells us, hey, don't do that. Don't love the world, the lust of the flesh, lust of the eye, and pride of life. They're all going to perish. They don't last. And so these people, they make the choice to eliminate God and all the attributes of God from our world. But yet they still want them. Now, does that make sense? Well, it really doesn't, but that's what they do. They want everybody to be kind. So just for a moment, think what our world would be like without God, period. There would be no such thing as right or wrong at all. Murder, rape, stealing would not be crimes, and there would be no courts of law because there would be no law. There would be no jails or prisons, and everyone will be on their own. And so, I mean, we've seen pictures, we've seen movies like that, talk about no law, where, I mean, like there's one, I forget the name of it, where there was going to be one night, no such thing as a crime, so everybody goes out and kills whoever they want to kill, and rapes and murders and steals whatever they want, and there's no police to stop them. I mean, that's a sign of a bad society, and evil, wicked society. And yet it is glorified. More and more people are calling to get rid of the police. Why? Because they want to feel free to do whatever they want to do. If they want to commit arson, if they want to commit murder, if they want to steal things, I mean, that's what they want. They don't want the law stopping them or hindering them from taking what they want. And so that's the world that is currently going on, and we would like to see it change, but guess what? You know, really, when you think about all these bad things there, if left up to many of the more vocal advocates of no law, no cops, they would only prosecute those who confess their faith in God and those brave enough to preach what the Bible teaches. You know, some parts of this world, they're already jailing people for preaching the Bible. They are persecuting people for preaching the Bible. And in some places, they even kill people who profess or confess a faith in God. And so that goes on in our world. And more, our society is so anti-God, anti those who would want to teach right. They really are. Now, there's a lot of churches out here, but many of these churches, the people are just like the rest of the world. They want their sin, they want to continue in their sin, they just want to feel good about themselves. And so they found somebody who would tell them what they want to hear. And that's what all the world wants. They want to feel that they're in a right relationship with God, but yet they still want to enjoy all the wickedness of the evil world. So what we're trying to say is the love of God is greater than anything and everything. And to attempt to describe the love of God to mankind really falls short because we can't cover it all. We don't have all the information about God to share with the world. All we have is what we have recorded in God's Word, and there's plenty there. There's a lot there, but you know how people of this world are when it comes to the Bible. Well, that's hate speech. We don't have to do that. And so they don't. But notice in the Bible, the attributes of God are what he wants us to acquire and practice. And strangely enough, this is what the rest of the world wants everybody to practice. Imagine a world where everyone is kind, loving, fair, just, helpful to each other, considerate of each other. And yeah, they want this, but the problem is they're unwilling to give up the evil that is in this world to acquire it. So love is better, and love is of God. And that's what we need to do. So we need to start showing love to more people and let the world know what love and kindness is. And who knows, maybe we can change some hearts. That's what our duty is, to set a good example for others and to let our light shine. And this is one way we do it. We let our light shine by doing good for others, by demonstrating the attributes of love in just about everything we do. And when we do that, I mean, we stand out. We're going to be different from the world. We're not going to be the evil, wicked ones trying to take advantage of others and stealing from others. But yeah, we're going to be different kind of people. And who knows, they may ask us why we're different, and that'll give us the opportunity to tell them, because we're following God's instructions and not man's wishes. So think about those things. Simple lesson, but it's something that really, when you think about this world without God and how scary it is, and then you got to look at, okay, if we had a world full of people who believed in God and respected God and acted the way God wants them to act, imagine how great this world would be. Yeah. So we're just in one of those crossroads right now where we've got to turn things around. And the only way we can do it is by taking the attributes of God and applying to ourselves, and hopefully by that we will lead an example for others to follow. All right, so consider these thoughts. That's our lesson for today. Y'all have a good, blessed day. Be safe out there. And Lord willing, we'll be back again tomorrow with another lesson. All right, bye-bye for now.